Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the American Revolutionary War Unit Review, Part 4. And in this section, we are going to talk about the documents of the Revolution. Paperwork. Who knew? I'm going to go up here, and we're going to get going. Our first one is the Articles of Confederation. This is kind of a precursor to the American Constitution. These were meant to be a temporary binding agreement between the 13 original colonies and were established at the First Continental Congress. All the 13 colonies and their representatives got together and said, hey, if we're going to do this, we need some kind of rules, some kind of laws that we're all going to function under so that we can do stuff. And thus, the Articles of Confederation are created. It provided the Continental Congress the ability to run a government and essentially direct the American Revolutionary War. What it didn't do was it didn't allow the Congress to pass taxes. It left that up to the individual colonies. It didn't allow for the creation of common currency or money. This was a big problem because 13 colonies, 13 different types of money, and not all money was created equal. A Georgia dollar was not equivalent to a New York dollar, and vice versa. It really made it hard to trade between colonies because, well, all the home colonies only wanted their own script, and they weren't willing to trade one for one. So it made it a mess. Furthermore, they didn't regulate any foreign trade or any interstate commerce as well, which needs to happen. So it made things very, very difficult for the government to function. It's worth saying, before I go on, it is actually worth saying that it is because of the failings of the Articles of Confederation that they will get back together after the signing of the Treaty of Paris. We'll get to that in a second. After the signing of the Treaty of Paris, and after that all happens, they will get together a couple of years later, realizing that the Articles of Confederation simply do not work, and they will sit down and draft a new government, that being called the Constitution. We're not going to address the Constitution here. That is actually going to happen next in our Constitution. Our next document is the Declaration of Independence, and this is signed on July 4th, 1776. Wait a minute. We have a holiday on that day. What a coincidence. Oh, wait, no. It is because of this document that we have this holiday. The document basically announces that the 13 American colonies regarded themselves as independent states and no longer a part of the British Empire. Essentially, this is a Dear George letter. We are saying, Dear King George, that is, we are saying, we the colonists are breaking up with you, Britain. It's not us, it's you. You don't treat us very good. You tax us too much. You deny us our personal liberties. You make unfair demands on us, and we're tired of it. So we're leaving you. Bye-bye. We're going to go on our own now. Needless to say, King George and the rest of Parliament did not take this very well. The temper tantrums are the stuff of myths and legend. This is primarily written by Thomas Jefferson with some help from John Adams and Benjamin Franklin and a few others. But this is really Thomas Jefferson's baby. And in this document, he really pours his heart out. He is very much a philosopher. And a philosopher is somebody that sits around and thinks about how life could be better if we did things differently. And in this letter, we really get an insight into Jefferson's vision for what America could be if we did it all together. It reads, in part, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Footnote, that line originally read, all men and women. It was edited. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The right to a free life, the right to liberty or the right to freedom, and the pursuit of happiness, meaning whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do, it's your life. Go do it. Fly, fly. I lost my place. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That means people give the government their permission to rule them, not the other way around, which is kind of how the British are approaching things. I was born to be king, thus I get to tell you what to do, because I'm the king. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. This is really inflammatory language. And what Thomas Jefferson is saying here is that when the people are finally so far oppressed that it is not only their right but their duty to rise up in rebellion against their unjust government. Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Meaning, we're going to put a new government that's going to work for what we need to do and how we need to do it. Pretty revolutionary stuff. And it's a revolutionary war. Who knew? Our final document that we're going to talk about is the Treaty of Paris. It is finally signed on September the 3rd, 1783. And this document marks the official end of the Revolutionary War and the war between Great Britain and her colonies. For the very first time, they are recognized, the United States is recognized as an official country, its sovereignty. And this is very important. The other countries all have to agree that we're really a country. And we are recognized not only by Britain, but by France and by Spain and one or two others, I don't remember who. But this is a big deal because unless all the other countries say, yeah, you're a country and you can be in the country club, you don't get to be a country. And so no one's going to deal with you. No one's going to trade with you. No one's going to play with you at all. So it's a good thing that they all agreed because we become the United States of America. And this is what we look like. It is agreed that our borders shall extend to the Mississippi River on the western side, to the boundaries just off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean on the eastern side. We don't get Florida, not yet. That comes along. And our boundaries will stop at what is now Canada. All of this area over here, which is today Illinois and Minnesota and Mississippi and Alabama and a bunch of others I'm not mentioning, all of these boundaries, all of these states are yet to be carved out. We are a brand new country, and it gets really interesting from here. That's it. That concludes our fourth segment and our complete unit review of everything you need to know about your American Revolutionary War unit test coming up. Thank you all for watching, and please feel free to replay any of these if you need to. Have a good night.